Welcome to Train Future, where ambition meets expertise. At Train Future, we believe in the transformative power of mentorship and training. In this podcast series, I interview leaders and experts from various fields. Today our guest is Jan Andersen, an AI expert with over 25 years of experience across NASA, defense, and leading tech firms. She worked at firms like Microsoft, Neustar, SAIC, Qualcomm, and General Atomics. She's also the founder of U plus AI, a community helping professionals harness AI for personal and professional growth. On today's episode, we're discussing the next wave of agentic AI and prompt engineering, and showcasing how these breakthroughs are reshaping roles in pharma, IT, banks, and consulting. Jan, thank you so much for joining today.
Thanks for having me.
Before we start, could you please take us through your journey?
Sure. I've had a long journey. I've been in tech for about 25 years now, about 10 of it in defense contracting or actually 15 years in defense contracting, 10 on the commercial side. Recently, I was at Microsoft, and that's really when I fell into my passion of generative AI, especially with Copilot. Today, I've helped thousands of people globally understand how to use Copilot and other generative AI tools. I'm most comfortable in engineering, program management, but today I'm a founder and an AI consultant helping tech companies understand their strategic AI vision, policies, and upskilling programs.
Well, that's great to hear. I mean, you obviously have so much experience. But that brings me to my first question. It's going to be a bit different, but what do you believe are the new trends for the early career hiring process for fields across consulting, banks, pharma in this age of AI?
The trend is, and it's starting as a trend, but actually it's going to be the new normal. And that is, you need to come to the job already knowing how to use and interact with AI. And how this comes to be is in pharma, juniors will have to know how to use AI to analyze perhaps clinical trial data and ask those questions and gain insight from it. In consulting, instead of starting from scratch on a slide deck and having business insights from there, you use AI to draft the first draft. In tech, you're going to need to learn how to use AI to sift through all the data and provide insights from that, and then articulate that out to your stakeholders. And then also work alongside AI generating code vibing is what they call it. And we're going to live in this hybrid world of using AI. And so the trend is, and the new normal will be, come to a new job already interfacing and interacting with AI.
It's interesting that you say that. And also, there's a lot of fear, for early professional students that are getting into these fields now. I mean, layoffs are definitely accelerating because I think companies are prioritizing AI capabilities over the entry-level roles. So my question is, what does this mean for college grads entering these kind of industries, and what specific actions should they take with this shift?
Yes, we're definitely seeing a lot of statistics, a lot of layoffs. I think at the beginning of this year, 2025, already we've seen 94,000 tech jobs that were lost to layoffs, and layoffs will continue to happen. Since 2023, we've seen a 30% reduction in entry-level jobs for college grads. And so that makes the market even more competitive. How I would approach this, or the advice I would give to recent grads, is that instead of banking on getting an entry-level job where they will teach you the job, you need to come in with a portfolio, a body of work. And so what that means is to perhaps have a GitHub repository of your projects, have projects that you've solved, business problems, or perhaps look at market data analysis for certain industries or companies that you follow, and then provide your insights on it, and then put that out publicly and on whatever platform that you feel. You need to start showing employers that you're able to think through problems to solutions rather than listing skills, because we all know that now that you've graduated, you have the degree, you have these lists of skills, perhaps certifications. Well, that's already baseline. Employers know that. Now the next step is, how do you articulate putting that into action? How do you provide value from day one? And how you do that is by doing real projects. In my own personal experience, I already had launched, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've had a long career, but I already launched 3 companies before I even finished my degree. And so I was already building portfolios back in the day, even before the internet was around. And
Right.
so you need to have that sort of entrepreneur spirit,
Yeah.
even if you go into a company. Always be building, always thinking about how you can produce,
Yeah.
not even like in a technical sense, like you don't have to be a coder, but like think in terms of analysis, problem solving,
Yeah.
understanding markets, deriving insights from that, and then use how to use AI to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, no, I mean it's great advice, and I think it's even getting more relevant now. It feels like consulting and banks where this is getting also more relevant. It's about taking that initiative, taking that first step, even if it's intimidating. It's just um, that's what it takes to stand out, I think, in this market. But yeah, now moving on to um, middle management. Let's talk.
Mm.
Like EY's CTO says that middle managers must learn to manage mixed teams of humans and agents.
Yes.
So, what impacts are AI agents having for mid-level managers across these fields?
Right. So the role of mid managers will be redefined. It's being redefined right now, and we'll see even more evidence of that going forward. And you're correct. With the use of AI agents, it's going to offload a lot of those repetitive tasking, looking at status reports, doing a lot of like reviews or different various managerial
Yeah.
administrative work. That stuff will be offloaded to agents. And very soon, your boss could be an agent, right? And
Mhm.
so those middle managers, they need to interact with these AI agents. And then also, lean more into the coaching, mentoring aspect, the human elements that AI agents won't be able to tap into. And so they're going to need to morph into those type of softer skills, those leadership skills, instead of just being a manager that relies on the more the admin repetitive stuff. It's going to change now. It's going to change where those softer leadership skills will really come out and shine.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that. Okay, so you mentioned that middle management is the next wave, like restructuring, and that these agents could like probably replace or maybe augment managerial roles. Now, in fields or sectors where it's more regulated, like banks, pharma, what would it take for teams to trust an AI agent as a boss? I mean, yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So in those more highly regulated industries like finance, healthcare,
yeah,
government, those will be a little bit take a little bit longer for adoption, but it is coming. It's going to happen. And so you need to have architecture within your data infrastructure where you ensure that the data that you have access to and your AI systems have access to will have minimal hallucination as possible. So we have RAG, which is retrieval augmentation generation, which is basically, in the most simple terms, for those who don't know what that is basically teaching your AI to only retrieve documents, policies, data that is only pertains to that company. And so it's almost like having your own private Google search within the company data itself. And of course, you can augment that with external data, and you have security policies in place to prevent leakage of data. But RAG architecture, along with the agentic architecture, is really truly the future of where it's going.
Wow, that's very interesting. Um, and that brings me to my next question, which is a bit different, but Deloitte warns that, AI hallucination pose, compliance issues, especially with RAG-based systems handling customer data. Now, RAG is trending as a, key architecture in banking and research-heavy fields. So how do you see this impacting decision-making, accuracy, and like the risk of, hallucinations in workflows?
Right. So there's always a concern of hallucinations. RAG actually reduces that risk, right? And so the hallucinations are a lot, the percentage of it is minimized. However, we should not trust AI. We shouldn't. It's not as evolved to the point where we're completely hands off. That's why we always have to do our due diligence and double check everything that it's pulling the sources from, and always check the citations, studies, case studies, everything. We have to do our due diligence in that. And right now, I would say I wouldn't trust it. I would always double check. And that should be the policy of every company, especially those that are highly regulated. So there is still a human in the loop role for us, that humans need to do that auditing.
Yeah. No, this definitely there's always going to be like a human in loop, no matter, like I don't think AI will completely replace these roles. Um, but yeah, speaking of like new trends, one question that just came up with digital twins. Digital twins and predictive modeling are gaining ground in consulting, especially for simulating organizational change or restructuring scenarios. Now, how do you like ensure that these simulations are realistic?
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of digital twins. I think it's a great lever to use within consulting. How do you ensure its accuracy, right? You need to understand the company within it, and the business processes and the culture and the people that work in it. So these subject matter experts, unfortunately, with all these layoffs, a lot of them are targeted to tenure people 20, 30 years into the company. And that's unfortunate, because those are people that understand and have lived experiences through these product launches and features and organizational change. And that is really that you can't replicate unless you have the people. And so even if you build a simulation, it still needs to be grounded in human experience. And so what I would say is that you touch base with those analysts, those people that create content, the ones that touch data. Those are your assets, those people. And you really want to make sure that you highly value them, especially when you're in a consulting world and you go into a company and speak to those people, because those are the ones that know the business the best, and then can validate the accuracy of digital twins.
Yeah, that's very interesting. My last question for today is what general advice would you give for students, early professionals that are getting into the industry maybe next year or within 2 years?
Build something. Build something right
Yeah.
now. Experiment. Yes, schooling is super important. It's going to give you that foundational knowledge, but it's not enough. You need to be a builder. You need to be a thinker. You need to think about what value and contribution that you bring that makes you stand out. And the best thing to do right now is to experiment with these AI tools. There has never been a perfect time to experiment with tools, because many of them are free and so readily accessible, and a lot of them are, doesn't take technical skills. But the thing is, you want to show that you have the tenacity, the ability to be curious, and keep going and produce something that is of value. And then that's the goal. That's what employers are looking for, that you're able to take that next level, to be strategic in your thinking in that way. So my advice is, don't wait until you're ready to apply. No, start building something now. Do it as a side project, a hobby, and then also share it with the world. Tell people about it. Build in public. Use LinkedIn, or any other platform that you feel comfortable. Share your ideas, share your thought process, share what you're building, and do it today. Don't wait until next year.
I have one more follow-up question. I'm sorry. Uh, let's say for university students, if they had to this choice of selecting one course, what course would that be? What relevant course that will help them in the long run in the context of AI?
AI literacy, of course.
Mhm.
Understand foundationally what LLMs are,
Yeah.
how it's very, very different from search. There's a lot of misconception that still people think it's just search, and it's not. And so have that AI literacy, understand what AI agents are,
Yeah.
understand how data is pulled and scrubbed and cleaned and refined, and how it's being used out in the world in various different industries. Understand the ethical implications of using AI in all of these industries. Take that type of course so that you have a solid understanding of how AI could impact the world. And then it's going to change all industries and all roles. So I would say start there. Start with AI literacy.
Well, yeah, thank you so much for your insights. It was really helpful. Thank you.
Great, it's a pleasure. Thank you.